Hey guys, so I thought that I would make this video about my pregnancy with having an underlying connective tissue disease and my experience with it. Um, so as I think I've said it before, Mark and I planned this pregnancy. It wasn't like we were surprised by it. I was tracking when I was ovulating. I had talked to my rheumatologist the months leading up to it because with health issues, you want to be stable and everything needs to be good for about 4 to 6 months before even getting pregnant. That way, your pregnancy goes smoother. So, for me, I was communicating with her that we wanted to get pregnant. She was watching my blood work, and of course, there were some things that were usually off, like my creatine kinase is always off, my red blood count, my white blood count, and there was, I think, a couple other things, but it wasn't abnormal. It was the things that were usually a little off, but weren't concerning. So, she, from her perspective, was saying that it was safe to get pregnant. I had fixed the issues that were making me throw up for the year prior. I stopped taking that medication. I got that all under control. So from a rheumatoid perspective, everything was good. I met with an OBGYN and told her what we were doing. She did her physical exam and said that if we were at a point where we were ready to start trying, I could stop birth control and everything was good from her point, and that she put in for me to see more of a high risk OBGYN, and they got all my medical records from my rheumatologist. They went through everything, and they pretty much, before even I was pregnant, they told me if I got pregnant, I was going to be at risk for preeclampsia, having the baby early, and the baby having a low birth weight. So I knew all of this before even getting pregnant. I knew from other people's experience that have what I have, they all kind of said the same thing, where they, after getting pregnant, their symptoms were better because your body is so focused on the baby and growing the baby that it's not attacking itself anymore. So, like, their joint pain was better, all their fatigue was better, those kinds of things were better after getting pregnant. But other than that, there's not a whole lot of recent articles on this connective tissue disease with pregnancy. It was all outdated and older, and it was all pretty much the same thing the high-risk OBGYN told me. So going in, I kind of had an idea of what it was going to be like getting pregnant. So I know we ended up conceiving the beginning of September. So the first thing, which I didn't even know was a cause from pregnancy, was I started getting hives in September every time I showered. And at first I thought it was because I get sores on the back of my scalp. I get these sore spots that are extremely painful. My rheumatologist told me to switch to like a tea tree shampoo. So the first time I did that was when I got hives. And I thought, okay, maybe it's the mint in the shampoo. So I switched back. And for weeks, every time I showered, I'd get hives. My chest, my back, my arms, my legs, the top and bottom of my feet. Like, it was so bad. I would get hives all over every time I showered. And it wasn't until I was 5 weeks pregnant and I had my appointment with my rheumatologist, it kind of clicked. And I looked at my calendar. The date the hives started was the week after we conceived. And I was like, okay, what are the chances? So I talked to my rheumatologist about it, and she confirmed that yes, it is common that if you have sensitive skin before getting pregnant, that your skin can become even more sensitive after getting pregnant. So luckily, Mark, being the amazing husband that he is, would wash my hair in the sink or the bathtub before I would shower. He'd wash my hair because it's so thick and long that the baby shampoo I was told to use would just make my hair gross. So he'd wash my hair first, and then I put it up in a towel, and then I was able to shower with like a Cetaphil soap that was very sensitive. And so the hives went away we did this for months. So that was the first thing that really I experienced when getting pregnant. And then morning sickness hit really hard at 5 weeks. I did the pregnancy pops. I talked to a nutritionist who said, oh, try lemonade and potato chips. because that's, I guess, the combo with the two helps with nausea, which worked for 2 or 3 days, but because I have geographic tongue, which means my tongue goes raw really fast if I stress out or anything like that, my tongue gets raw spots all over it. So after 2 days of lemonade and potato chips, my tongue was completely raw. I couldn't do it anymore. So that was a struggle. And after getting really sick on Halloween, I was about 2 months pregnant. I was so worried about being dehydrated that I finally caved in and I asked my doctor for medication to help with the nausea. Because I was already on my normal meds. I was taking vitamins. I didn't want to add more medicine to it. So finally I caved. I got the nausea meds and it was the best decision ever. I started wanting to eat again. I wasn't throwing up anymore. It was amazing. From a rheumatoid perspective, though, once I got pregnant, the knee pain was gone. I could walk up a flight of stairs without being in pain. The fatigue was still there, but that's also because fatigue's common with pregnancy, so that one I don't think was ever going to go away. But I actually started feeling really good that I was able to half my medication because I'm on Plaquenil. I usually take it twice a day, and so luckily I was able to kind of lower it to one a day, which was really nice. Things were going good for a bit, and then at the beginning of my second trimester, I started experiencing horrible round ligament pain. It was to the point where it's debilitating. I couldn't move, and I would be in pain for 30 minutes, 45 minutes to an hour. And at that point, I was lucky because Mark was home with me. So when it hit, like, my back would go numb first, because it's not just in one spot, which some of the other people that I've talked to have had it. It starts in my uterus and goes around my hip to my back. It's that whole right side of my body is in pain to the point where I can't move. And so it was really hard. It helped having Mark with me because he could get me Tylenol. He could get me icy hot. He could at least help me to a bath to get the pain to stop because I could not move. It hurt so bad. And it only got worse from there. And so, it was hard when Mark left to go to San Diego and I was getting the house ready to move by myself because there was a lot for me to do, but, 2 hours in, I'd be to the point where I couldn't move. I was in so much pain. So I'd have to stop, try and get into a bath, try and do something to stop the pain, relax my back, and then finally I can finish up what I was trying to do. Tried to talk to my OBGYN about it because everything online would say if it hits your back is when it's concerning and to call your doctor. So I called her 3 times over the course of a couple weeks because it was so bad. It was so much pain. And she's like, oh, it's normal. Just drink water and take Tylenol. And I'm like, okay. I brought it up to my rheumatologist thinking maybe is it possible that the pain could be worse for me since I have an underlying connective tissue disease, and that's where the UCTD affects is my joints, my ligaments, my tendons, stuff like that. And she said, oh no, it's just normal. You're just going to be in a lot of pain. Just drink water. And I'm like, okay. So finally, I had my anatomy scan. Things were looking great with Granger. His weight is good. Everything is on track. Was doing blood work a lot. They were tracking everything. My rheumatologist said that everything looked good, that it didn't have anything concerning. I made sure I did full workups right before I moved because I didn't know how long it was going to take to get a new doctor once I moved to Texas. So moving to Texas was a lot on my body. The drive was terrible. I was in so much pain. It was pretty bad. And I have noticed lately that if it's hot or if the sun's on me, my face turns bright red. I get irritated. It's kind of similar to the lupus rash or the malar rash you get when you have lupus. But it's just more of a heat or sun sensitivity. So getting to Texas, it took a little bit getting switched to TRICARE East, getting a primary doctor. But my new primary doctor, I love her. I've never had good luck with primary doctor. She's super nice. I brought up the round ligament pain to her, and it just made me feel good because when I brought it up, She said, I'm not one to say no, but it could be possible that your round ligament pain could be worse because of your connective tissue disease. She's like, I don't know enough to confirm that. And that's all I needed, was just somebody that didn't make me feel like I was going crazy. Somebody just to validate how I felt. Because a lot of my symptoms are things you can't see. And so I get these sore spots on my scalp that I'm in so much pain. Like, I can't touch my head sometimes. It hurts so bad. It feels like there's open wounds on my head. And then I'll have Mark look at my scalp and he's like, there's nothing here. It's just a little bit of redness. And it just makes me feel like I'm going crazy because I feel all these things. My tongue goes raw. I'm in so much pain on my body. But because I look healthy, everything, they're just like, oh, you're fine. There's nothing wrong. And it makes you feel crazy. So for her to kind of validate that, oh, it is possible, but I don't know enough about it, just kind of made me feel good. And it was really crazy because she had a nurse that was filling in for her usual nurse. And I always get the question, okay, do you have an underlying health conditions? And I hate answering this question because half the time they've never heard of UCTD or they don't take it seriously. And so I told her, I was like, okay, I have a connective tissue disease. I have the symptoms of lupus, but not quite the diagnosis. And the nurse was like, wow, that is so weird. I just got diagnosed with that last week. The exact same thing, the connective tissue disease points to lupus, but not enough markers to diagnose her. It was crazy because she never works for that doctor. She was just filling in, and it was meant to be. It was meant for us to meet, and it was awesome to finally have somebody that knew what I had and was going through it and just kind of understood it. So it was pretty crazy. It was a weird feeling. The doctor was super nice. I just had my appointment with my OBGYN. I got a guy because he was kind of the better one of the options, and at this point, with me being high risk and this far along, I just wanted the best OBGYN I could get that was willing to take on somebody that was high risk. Super nice guy. He gave me more options than just take Tylenol and drink water. He offered up. He said I could take my CBD cream. I could put that on it. It's safe while pregnant. He said I could do, icy hot. If I can't get in a bath, I could do a hot towel, wrap it around my hip. That'll help. It was just nice to have other options, or him give me suggestions other than take Tylenol and drink water. So I'm really excited. I have an appointment with a rheumatologist next week, who is actually the rheumatologist of the nurse that I met. She gave me the info for her doctor, who's kind of an hour away, but because I don't see my rheumatologist, I see him every 3 or 4 months. It's okay. It's just an hour. But that's the one person that you really need on your side is your rheumatologist. So as long as they're really good, then I don't care if I'm driving an hour. But other than that, it's just 2 days ago I woke up feeling like I got hit by a car. My body just hurts so bad. My left hand's not even my bad hand. So just trying to open a door, I couldn't open a door or anything with my left hand. It was pretty bad. My body hurt, and then today I woke up with a horrible headache, which my feet and legs aren't swollen, which is really good signs. It might just hopefully be a headache. I don't know, but I'm relaxing for a bit before I start cleaning. But it's just, as we're getting closer, it's really taking its toll on my body. And so I'm nervous about what's going to happen to my body after I have the baby, because that's when I'm going to be really bad. I've heard some people can't move for weeks. So luckily, hopefully Mark will be here. That's what we're hoping for, is that he can come and go on paternity leave as soon as I have the baby. Because it's going to be bad. And as I get closer, it's kind of really taking its toll on my body. So that's been my experience with being pregnant while having an underlying health condition. So I don't know if this helps anybody, but it's crazy, but everyone says it's going to be worth it when I hold them. So I'm excited to meet my little guy in a couple months. So thanks for listening to my crazy